Okay, Dave, so here's your video from yesterday. Top one is the one that we did later in the lesson, and the bottom one is an earlier clip. So just to take a look at I want to show you a couple of key components here that are really important. All right, so we are working on um, lifting the leg and drifting, getting that fall feel so that he's moving with momentum, getting the body going, activating the lower body while trying to time his upper body a little bit more athletically. And it's not even that he has to change too much of any timing issues here. He just has to get quicker with the legs. I mean, that's really what the problem is. The first movement is the legs. And if the legs don't move first, then everything kind of gets out of whack. Okay, so let me just start you up here at leg lift. So the bottom video is much more awkward for him because he was just learning it, but take a look at what he does here. He's going to go up here with the leg, and look at how long it takes him to get going. See, at this point with a short leg kick like this, boom, he's got to get going right here. But notice how stalled out he is. He hasn't even begun to move his hips, so there's no movement going at all this way. So he's just going to lift, he's going to wait. Now he's going to get going, and he's already, at the point where he's breaking his hands, and he has no real movement. So if, we take a look how far inside of his drive leg is his body when he breaks his hands, not very good. He has a lot of part of he's got too much of his body on this side of the line, too much of his hips too. He needs to get that body out here by the time he breaks his hands. So let's take a look at the top video and do a little comparison. So take a look, he lifts his foot up a little bit, and look at how much sooner he gets going. So he actually does it. He does it well in this video. All right, so as he comes out of his leg lift, let's see how much of his body is inside his drive leg. I'm going to draw a straight line up there, and look at how much more his hips now are in front of that line. Let me do that again, sorry. And draw one up from his ankle. Okay, so you can definitely see that there's a lot more hip movement in this video. It's not great, but it's better. He can definitely get more. But the idea is that he's moving as his leg is coming up. See the hips moving? They're moving, they're moving, they're moving. And by the time he starts to drop his leg, that's where he really is off that line, as compared to this video, as he drops his leg right there. There he is. So he's already broken his hands here, right? But he's out further, which is really what we want. So it's not even necessarily breaking the hands later. It's just activating the lower body at the right time so that he can get the body going and give his arm time, or give his body time to get out. All right, so let's take a look a little bit further down. Another key component here. And in both videos, he lacks the same thing. Now, we're just starting this, so he's just trying to get the feel of lifting and drifting out, which is good because that's a huge step for him. And from here, the more comfortable he gets, he'll get better at it. But take a look here at his leg drive. Here's where his leg drive begins, right? This is where the back foot, if you take a look at the bottom video, the back foot is going to now kick over. But take a look at his foot, his front foot on both videos. I drew a line there at his ankle to see how much distance he actually goes with the leg drive, but watch how he just puts down. Both videos he gets a little bit more in this one because he actually had that momentum. He moved correctly, so look at how much he does get a little bit more extension there in the front leg. Not much, but a little bit more. So his center of gravity is still a bit tall because he lacks the back leg drive. And why does he lack that back leg drive? He might be weak. It's probably weakness. It's probably just he just has slow muscle fiber reaction, just not quick and explosive. But we can get there. He also, if you take a look here, he doesn't have much of a bend in that knee. Now, again, that's not something that we really worked on, but look at how high his force vector is. So if I put an angle on it, look at how high he is off the ground. So he's not really going to be able to power too much in a linear direction when he's that high off the ground, 38 to 40 degrees of his angle. So we need to work on getting more of a flex in that knee and then driving that knee forward, because he doesn't have much room to really drive. So he's just going to kind of lift up and he's going to drop the front foot. And notice how his back ankle in both videos doesn't really extend too much. Okay, the knee is already in extension, but he never had to extend it because it was already straight. But, you know, at this point, the hips should be turned, the knee should be turned, and the back foot should be turned all the way over to get those hips separated from the shoulder. And that's what's going to give him a nice arm layback. It's going to lag behind his trunk, and then it's going to internally rotate a lot sooner than what it does. So his arm casting way out in front of his face is really just due to the lack of lower body leg drive power. His stride power is just not there. So when it gets there, it's going to change a lot. And he does land nice and vertical. I mean, his trunk is nice and straight. He's not too bad. He can probably get more of a trunk tilt, as we talked about. He certainly doesn't want to land toe first, but it's because he's just kind of dropping. So once that leg gets pushed out by the power of this leg drive, by a lower force center of gravity and a lower force vector, that hip will pop up a little bit and push that leg out, and he'll land more on his heel. So it's another thing there that is being affected by lack of back leg power. Okay, and then of course, because of that, everything's going to rotate at once, so there's no real sequence of events here. What has to happen when he powers out of the leg correctly is the hips are going to turn, the knee's going to turn, the shoulder's going to stay back, and then it's going to get pulled through, not moving all at once in one movement, if you know what I mean. It just looks like everything is coming together at once. The shoulder, the hip, the knee, and his heel is popping up only because his upper body is turning and it's pulling everything up. He's not really driving that leg. Okay, so this is just a lower body issue. It's a first movement, which he does nicely here at the top video. So he's figuring it out. He's definitely starting to move. And I would encourage him to move like this with a lower leg lift, because the higher the leg lift, it becomes more difficult to shift and to break. It just gives you more time to make mistakes. So he's just lifting and he's shifting, and I would encourage him to start lifting and shifting with a little bit more aggressiveness, not too much more, and then trying to lower himself a little bit, trying to flex that back knee so he gets lower to the ground. And that will definitely improve his stride power, his stride length, his arm timing. Everything will get better because his lower body will be moving faster. Okay, let me put up the other one.